my real passion was playing airsoft, which I
Right.
started doing right about when I got out in 2005, 2006.
What
And
what kind of led you to airsoft? Did you just heard about it or seen it?
Welcome back to Task Force Podcast, an airsoft podcast made by the airsofters for the airsofters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode Task Force Podcast. I'm your host Snake, joined by my co-host Nasty,
Awkward on the mic.
and along with Brian as well again, Thumper.
Hey guys.
So today we also have a special guest on the show, Josh Warren of Milsim West. How's it going, Josh?
hey, what's up, guys?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Hey, man. So we're happy to have you on the show.
Yes.
Really excited about it. Honestly,
It's
we've been
awesome,
talking
actually.
about it for quite a bit now. I know I had talked to you a lot before this whole coronavirus, and it would have been a little bit different of a discussion, but
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, but I got a couple questions for you we'd like to ask, and I'm sure everybody would like to know. So if you want to start, just tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, sure. My name's Josh Warren. I am from Racine, Wisconsin, originally. I had got into reenactment when I was like 6 or 7 years old, back in the like early '90s.
What
And
type? Like Renaissance?
I
or-
did American Revolutionary War, but
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
you know, that's just because that's kind of who I met up with as a kid. My parents weren't like actually into it or anything,
Right.
so it was something I just kind of got into on my own. So when did I start playing airsoft? I started playing airsoft in 2006 after I got out of the military. I was in the Army. I served in the 75th Ranger Regiment from 2001 to 2005. I left there as a team leader, and I did 3 deployments to Iraq, or 3 deployments to Afghanistan and 2 deployments to Iraq while I was in 2nd Ranger Battalion. And then I went on to have a very mediocre career in the reserves for 4 years after that. Because my real passion was playing airsoft, which I
Right.
started doing right about when I got out in 2005, 2006.
What
And
what kind of led you to airsoft? Did you just heard about it or seen it? Or
well, it's like I'd heard about it, so I'd read about it on the internet and stuff while I was on deployments towards the end there, like 03, 04, when we started to have actual internet. Like obviously all the 02, 03 deployments, there was like really not a lot of internet.
right.
But by 03, 04, 05, there was like kind of internet. And so I read about a bunch of places around where I was based, which was Fort Lewis up in Washington. It's about, I don't know, 90 minutes south of Seattle, near this town called Tacoma, Washington. And I found a couple groups up there. And when I got out of the Army, I was actually working as a recruiter when I first got out. And I went to a local airsoft arena that had just opened up to try and use it as like a recruiting
Oh wow.
thing,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
to do
Yeah.
like a recruiting event there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I ended up quitting the recruiter job because I was really fucking bad at it. Because I was the same as a recruiter as I am as like an online troll and recruiter for Milsim West, in the sense that, like, you know, Johnny would be like drooling and completely autistic, you know, and would be like, I think I want to be a ranger, Mr. Recruiter, you know, and I'm like, yeah, listen,
sign
kid.
here.
Yeah, why don't you sign up to be something else? Because you're not going to make it, and then your life's going to suck. Because you're going to go, you know, you're going to go to this like washout platoon, and you're going to get a shitty posting, and just don't do it, you know. Or like kids all motivated to join, smart, ready, fit, and then the parents come in and are like, "But he'll be okay, right?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna be honest with you, ma'am, he might not be okay."
He might die. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really bad at it, man. Like, I actively discouraged easy recruits, and good recruits, I freaked out their parents. So, good thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So while I was being the worst recruiter in the history of the Army, you know, I got into airsoft. I quit the recruiting job and started working at the airsoft field. And,
Really? That's kind of a cool
Yeah,
transition.
yeah. Much to my wife at the time chagrin, but yeah. And so I've been in it pretty much since then. Like immediately after that, people started hiring me to do local games with them. This guy hired me to go to Lion Claws with his team and like be their squad leader.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was
Okay.
actually, and so that's probably where I first got the idea. This was in 2006, I want to say. It
Right.
was Lion Claws 5, maybe.
Yeah, they were
Um,
huge at the time.
well, it was the biggest thing going on. It was like 300 people or something, and that was like a big deal.
Right.
And I went to that, and that was the first time I thought, well, fuck, man, if these assholes can do this, like, geez, like, why am I not doing this? And so I worked for a bunch of different businesses for a while, either hosting events or working in fields. I had some different stuff on and off there, but while I was in college, I met Brian Clarkson, who's the other half of Milsim West,
Right.
and we started running events for a company called Battle Sim. Later, I worked for a place called Tacoma Tactical, and we restarted Battle Sim in 2011, and that was what Milsim West. That's what became Milsim West.
Really?
Um,
Yeah, I had
yeah.
heard of Battle Sim before. I'd heard of that.
hmm Yeah. That was cool. It was just like real specialty. It was historical,
Right.
kind of a historical version of what Milsim West is, and it was fixed op force, so it was a giant like direct action or tier one or whatever the like downloadable content missions are for the more casual Milsim promotions.
Right.
That's basically, but it was a 40 hour of that. So it was kind of expensive to produce.
Right.
The op4 were hard to motivate well all the time, and you didn't really make a lot of money because it was such a niche experience within a niche, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. No. So.
So, okay. So then, didn't you say this might lead into your next question because you were asking me when did Milsim West kind of make it big? Essentially.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was going to ask you. Was when did you were like, holy shit, this is
real.
This is a
Like,
fucking
holy
thing,
fuck.
and
This
people
is gonna
are digging
happen.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I started it in 2011 with a bunch of buddies who'd all been in Battle Sim. The guy who came up with the logo is an awesome dude named Natty Marks. He is doing some cool guy shit in the military now. He went back in and became an even cooler dude. Another guy, Marshall Smith, came up with the name. He works for Tesla now. He doesn't have time for Milsim. And then for a while there was this guy Eric Hickley who joined us, who's a senior officer in the U.S. military, and he just really helped us kind of tighten our shot group up. So 2011 we started it. I think Eric joined the crew in like 2013. He was with us until about 2014, and it was probably about 2014, 2015 when Brian and I were like, "Well, shit, this is our job now."
Right.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, and basically in 2014, we paid Jet to come to a game. There was some disagreement between all the partners at the time as to whether or not we should pay this guy. But I thought we should because I saw the potential, in advertising your events on YouTube. And you can pretty much tie our success to that, man. Like Jet put us on his channel, and
And that was all
that was
it
it.
kind of thing.
Yeah. That's
pretty
crazy. Like to me.
Well, I mean, it was like within a year. Yeah, I mean, it changed my life radically.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what I'll
Oh
say.
yeah, fuck yeah,
I mean,
dude.
yeah.
It would
So
be,
this has been my full-time job for 6 years.
right.
Oh, the harshness.
Dude.
That's so
But-
bad.
Does it ever get like you're like, fuck this, dude, it's just driving me crazy?
Yeah, of course.
Or is it? Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a job, man. Like, do I love it? Yeah, of
Right.
course. If I didn't, I'd sell fucking cars. Or I do something where like I could just be like, well, I'm on vacation,
Right.
and like
Right.
walk away from it. Where it's like, I can't, and it's a very there are pros and there are cons. It's certainly
Right.
been a
Sure.
great experience in my life. I'm super grateful just to the clients that have continued to support it.
Mhm.
Like, it's just been incredible, man. Like, I was, 2011, I was a janitor. I visited my parents once a year, maybe, and I was like 30 or
That's
something.
crazy.
Yeah, and now it's like I take my parents on vacations. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not loaded, but it's like
But you can do what you couldn't do now.
my sister, who has a law degree from Harvard, pays me back for my parents' gifts. You know what I mean? Like,
That'd be nice.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
well, she also,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's like I go and see my cousins and my sister and brother, and no one's laughing at me for being a janitor anymore because they're like,
Right.
and right, and at least half of them are like, damn, I wish I had that motherfucker's job. And it's like, well, I mean,
Dude,
I
I
do
mean-
because I do have an unprecedented amount of
You-
free time.
Yeah,
Right.
I imagine.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like to do airsoft for a living would be fucking awesome.
Well,
and
anything
just-
It's hard though,
I mean,
man. Like
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, you just really got to hustle.
Right.
Like the amount of people that I mean, or you can go. Honestly, if you're just trying to work in airsoft, period, it's like I would go work for Evic. They're hiring like crazy,
Right.
and they hired a lot of my homies from Russians that worked at other companies when those companies went under, and they're just a good
Right.
up and coming company. But like if you're just trying to produce your own shit, whether it's as a promoter or a field owner or like, it's like, there's just for every Balahack Chris out there, you know what I mean? There's 40 people that are just like, you know what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah,
just having
yeah.
having these total like trash pit businesses
Right.
where like the parents are dropping the kids off looking at the field like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Yeah.
You got those dudes who are organizing Facebook games. Not to say that maybe they don't all suck, but you can tell they're like sloppily handled and just thrown together at the last minute trying to make some money off of it.
And not even, I mean, there's just a ton of fields that are just like, it's because it's hard to make money, man.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, like Milsim West is a good business because it has like not a lot of overhead, and
Right,
we're
right.
limited to these specific engagements, and it's actually on the low side profit wise of airsoft events because most airsoft events don't have the same staffing costs.
Right.
Um,
I don't know.
But-
It's weird to think about. Like nowadays, everybody like looks to YouTube and they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna work. I'm just gonna be a full time streamer." Like,
And then
when
here
I
they
was
I mean,
little,
my-
when I was little, like streaming, like that shit wasn't even a thing yet.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a
Yeah, it
off
was
making
pretty-
YouTube
I'm not
videos.
gonna shake my ass on an app and then become a billionaire by the time I'm 17. Yeah,
You might.
I mean,
I will.
my 7-year-old niece thinks, she just bought a YouTube channel with 2 followers from my 10-year-old nephew for $18.35, and she thinks she's going to be famous.
Hey,
Dude,
she might.
I
You
don't
never know.
Like, it's cool. I mean, I think like if you're personally excited about it,
Well, I'll tell you this: if you're trying to be famous, you're not going to be.
right,
Yep.
right. I would agree with that. It's
I mean, like I didn't. So I mean, I guess circling back to the MSW thing, like the guys who started MSW started it because these were the kind of games we wanted to play.
right,
Yep.
right,
That was the style that we preferred. That was the kind of games we wanted to play, long-term endurance games that really favored cohesive teams that had a lot of coordination and were able to effectively keep people on security through the darkness,
right.
manage their strengths so that they could attack all at once and work in a coordinated way. Like, if you've got a group of 30 or more people that's all going to work together, this game is going to favor you
Right.
heavily. Whereas that can be less important in a casual game because it's like for 4 hours, a team could win by just like going ham the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, you could just have one side could just be a total melee and still be winning.
just onslaught. Exactly
Just
what we were
keep
talking about
going.
last
Yeah,
episode.
we were
Just
talking about
fucking
that.
send in the wave. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Well,
So,
I mean,
like, I will
that's
say
totally
just,
an arena or small field tactic is like run to respawn, right?
Yeah.
Right.
God,
Right. Exactly.
yeah.
I will say just from like, because I mean, Nasty and I started playing back when I was like, I don't know, like 14 or something,
Right.
and he started playing.
Okay,
this.
so that was
we've
like Civil War, or
I was like,
no? This isn't Brian, is it? I thought this was
no. This
Wow,
is Snake.
shooting the shot.
No,
My bad, Snake.
Shots fired.
I started.
You gotta lay off the booze, man. You sound old.
I started playing. Shit, I don't know. Early 2000s.
Right.
But anyway, and like I remember we started playing, then Milsim, we figured out what Milsim was, and
Yeah.
I was like, this is really cool. And then we kind of got out of the game for a while, and we're starting to kind of really get back into it now, pretty deeply. And like I was looking around, I found Milsim West, and I was like, dude, holy shit. This is the type of game like I always wanted to be a
Right.
part of.
Yeah.
It started blowing my mind, and the deeper and deeper I looked into your guys' events, I was like, dude, holy shit, they ration BBs. Like, they go the 9 yards. Like, I love it. The shit it's premium. Like, You don't just get into a firefight and waste all your fucking BBs now because now you're fucked.
Right.
Like that type of stuff was. I thought it was really cool to find.
The type of airsoft that they provide comes with a certain following that you wouldn't get at other Milsims.
Right.
So like we talked about a couple episodes ago, you get some hardcore dedicated motherfuckers at events like this, and that's who I want to play with.
Right.
I don't want to play with the guy who's willing to walk 18 miles just to respawn, just to die again when he gets there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm looking for hardcore, man. I want to bleed.
I mean,
I want
I don't
the
know
guy
if
who's
you'll bleed,
smart
but,
enough
like, the
not
last-
to run in the barrel.
Yeah.
you know, definitely. I mean, we've done the last game we did in 2019. In the U.S., not counting foreign games, the last game we did was the daytime high was like 28 degrees on Saturday.
That's badass.
Yeah, it was fucking wild. It was wild. So you can imagine that it got a little warmer, like in the middle of Sunday, right when the game ended. Typical Milsim West event. Like right as it ends, the sun came out. Temperature went up to like 43. You know, people were like sunbathing at the after action review. It was crazy, but yeah, man. So we started this basically as a. So none of you guys have ever been to a Milsim West.
No.
Unfortunately.
We had.
We were going to.
Yeah, we were planning on going this year, but then
that didn't happen.
Oh yeah, to which one?
I actually was looking at the road to Kharkiv, and then if that's how you pronounce it, but then
I think it is. The New York Times actually covered that event, and the story didn't come out because it was supposed to come out the Sunday before Trump told everyone to stay home.
Right. Right. Yeah, and then that's exactly
so
my
it's
work
like
was
shelved
like
until
my work was like, if you travel anywhere, you can't come back for 2 weeks, and I was like, that's cool. And then of course, you know, the baby and the doctor was like, don't fucking go anywhere.
I'll just stay in the field for 2 weeks. I'll just solar power.
Wait, what do you do for work?
I actually work for Caterpillar.
Okay.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
Equipment.
Big company.
Yeah. Well, I work for Caterpillar is like a franchisee kind of. So every place kind of has their own little fucking dealer. Ours is Foley Cat. So I think up in.
But basically, they were telling you back in February not to travel.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
They our company's big on fucking safety and shit. So they've been pushing it hard to not travel outside of the state, and then they started doing 2-week stuff, and yeah,
it got bad.
No, that makes sense.
I gotta get a gun that will hold up to one of his events.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like awesome. It just has to be sturdy enough. You know, like
if you fall on it.
I mean,
like
I've seen people do it with any kind. You know, I've seen people do it with G&G combat machines.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't want to, but you know.
But we've seen.
I mean, but you know, they've got like, I mean, there's certainly other better G&G products that you could use for it.
Yeah, go Milsim with a Sima.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I used the Sima for years, man. Like,
can I do
Sima AKs are actually pretty. At least they used to be pretty good.
Right there.
Can I just bring a backpack full of Springers and just see what happens?
As one breaks, pull another one out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it, man. I mean, you know, your experience may vary.
You may not hate anybody.
Yeah, it's certainly like, so the point of Milsim West is not necessarily to cater to the customer.
Right.
Exactly.
Which is sort of the opposite of what everybody in the event business does, with a few exceptions. So it's kind of like your Go Ruck or your Tough Mudder. You know, it has that aspect to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the brand space that it's supposed to be in. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. I guess that's what MSW is.
Right.
For people who don't, I mean, I assume you guys had some idea because you probably read the tax op or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went through
I mean,
there
for
and
people
read
who, I guess for people who are totally unfamiliar, the major differences in gameplay as far as Milsim West goes, the event starts around 9 or 10 p.m. You know, 2100, 2200 for your military-minded types on Friday, and then it runs until 11 on Sunday with no breaks, no stops. Your iPro is on at all times, and then there are 2 separate check-in locations. so the factions never see each other before the game
Oh, that's
starts.
I like it.
badass.
Yeah.
That I
So you don't know how many people are on the other team.
Right.
You may have some idea of whether you're supposed to be attacking, defending, in a meeting engagement. Like the scenario will let you know if typically one side is the defender, typically,
Right.
because typically there's an imbalance in forces, and so we'll set one side as a defender with lots of room to retreat, and the other side is the attacker with lots of objectives to attack, right? But sometimes they're even, so we'll set them both kind of as a meeting engagement. And so you'll have some idea, but you don't know exactly how many.
Right. No, that's cool.
It's funny because I've seen games at the end where they're like, well, they had us outnumbered like 5-1. And it's like, no, they have like 20 more people than you.
If it seemed 5-1, you were in the wrong place.
Right.
Well, but it can get that way by Sunday. So
Right.
by Sunday, depending on what happens, so like a big component of it is who stays all the way till the end.
Right. Or who trickles out,
how
many people they lose.
Or who shows up on Friday and goes super ham with no plan to rest. And then when Saturday night rolls around and the sun goes down, they just can't keep their little eyelids open. And so they just sleep it out, wake up in the morning and either go home immediately or take part in the final action, groggily, and then you see what I'm getting at. Like,
yes.
And then and God forbid the weather is bad on Saturday, because when the sun goes down, it's like everyone's wife's having a baby, everyone's grandma just died.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Break out
Like,
the
if it's
whoopee
raining-
and the poncho.
Oh my God, if it's raining, I'm just like, a lot of dudes' wives are pregnant, a lot of grandmas on their deathbeds. I can tell right now.
I gotta
Because
go.
when you leave, so that goes into another part of the event structure. So everybody's organized into battalions, companies, and platoons, and all the way down to the squad and fire team level. But for each platoon, each company, and each battalion, there are employed staff who are veterans of special operations units, combat veterans, or just veterans with special experience relevant to airsoft. Or in the event of our insurgency series, we'll have subject matter experts who are civilians.
Right.
So, like, we might have somebody who's a lawyer playing like the Minister of Justice in those games. We'll have a guy who's a diplomat playing the president or something to that effect.
Right.
That's
That's kind of cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So we have two game types, but in the force-on-force game type and the insurgency game type, which are kind of exactly what they sound like, for every 40 players, there is a person that we are paying upwards of $200 a day plus all their travel costs. So they are,
Wow.
they're professionally engaged for a 2
Right.
or 3 day event. It's really 3 days plus their travel time.
Right.
Just for you and your 40 people, your 4 squads of 10 or something, right? So, I think that really helps control the experience because you have a lot more attention to individual customers'
Yes.
kind of needs. It's still never going to be 100% in the sense that, like, everyone's going to get that boring mission.
Right.
Some Milsim West events are going to have 14 hours of nothing happening.
Right.
I mean, it's very possible that, like, just nothing happens of any note for 14 hours to your element.
Right.
It's an organic
and
event.
I think that's what you pay for, though, is that little bit of it's different.
Yeah, I mean, and we do the best we can as far as, like, the cadre
Right.
are trying to make sure that you get what you came for without nerfing the game, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like,
But
we're not trying to give you a mission that's stupid, but we are. You can assume
but
that
sometimes
your
you gotta have some
cadre.
stupid shit to do.
Because that's
You
IRL.
can assume that your cadre are communicating across the faction lines to make sure that, like, people are getting to do what they came to do.
Hey,
so to
embrace
speak.
the
Like,
suck.
I like it.
Right, but yeah, so it's and then for every company there's 2 guys, and then for each battalion there's 2. So it's like our staff to player ratio is actually a little closer to like 30.
It's really good.
And then one of the ways we kind of enforce that leadership structure is all the BBs. So there's no outside BBs allowed at Milsim West. We actually provide all the BBs used in the game. Elite Force gives us like 2 million BBs per game for both sides, totally free. They've been doing it for 7 years now. They ship them everywhere to us. They ship them to Mexico.
Awesome.
So instead of having a stupid ass raffle at the end, we just give everyone their product, and that's how Elite Force
Nice.
is the most reliable BB in the business. And
I'll
then
take it.
for all our tracer BBs, G&G gives them to us because they have red and green. So red for NATO, green for Russian forces.
Six.
And they've been giving that to us for years. Shipping them all over the world for us. And
Right.
that is kind of how we enforce it. So that way, when you have that squad come of like hard charge and high speed operators that goes on a recon mission and gets, in a giant firefight, gets totally overrun, and then screams at their higher command for not sending someone to reinforce their 9-man squad on a recon mission. And it's like, you're not supposed to, like, if you're shooting on a recon, then the recon is over.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
the
no
recon is ended.
You're no
Yeah, I
longer
think-
reconnaissance.
I had watched some video, I think, an interview with you, and you were basically saying, like, if you wanted to be a sniper, you had to special request it because I don't think it's going to be what you really think it's going to be, and I want to make sure you're okay with it first.
Yeah, that's basically it. People don't understand that, and typically we don't have like dedicated recon elements because unless it's like customers that are well known to Cadre.
Right.
So Cadre, like you're gonna get, if you sign up for a Milsim West event about 30 days before, you're gonna get a faction group, and the Cadre are gonna be in there to help you prepare, make sure you got the right gear, make sure you understand the plan and what they want you to do, and that's where they're gonna figure out like who's going to do what. Now, my preference when I am a platoon cadre, because about 2 or 3 events a year I'll participate as a platoon cadre and
Right.
pay someone else to be an admin in my place, because we have to have people out there with off-road trucks for like
Right.
in the event, in the event somebody gets injured, which has happened. You need someone who's awake, listening to a radio, waiting, to coordinate an ambulance response, law enforcement, fire, whatever could happen. Yeah. And so I'll do that a couple times a year. And my preference is to rotate the recon missions from each squad for the first half of the game, and then whichever squad I thought was the best, I'll use as my recon section for the rest of the game.
Right. No, that's cool.
That's kind of my technique. And some people just don't want to do that anyway. They
Right.
just want to be an assault squad, so to speak. Because I'll try and find like my best squad and then be like, hey, in terms of the people who are the most ready, most prepared, best communicators,
Right.
and be like, look, I'm going to break you guys from 10 down, 9 down into 3 groups of 3, and we're just going to split the day into 8-hour shifts.
Right.
fair.
Yeah, and
That's fair.
that way I always have some eyes out, and then the rest of the squads we split the day into 8-hour shifts, and your squad's on patrol-based security, and then your squad's rest and recover, and then the other squad is on squad reconnaissance. Which is like having somebody near the patrol base ready to fight, and then if something comes down the pipe from the command higher than me, like the company commander, the battalion commander, because there's some operation,
Mm-hmm.
you just have to it kind of sucks, but sometimes it can be better because I already have eyes out there. But what I'm getting at is that's how I like to break it down.
Right.
Different cadre do it differently. We've had, but we've never really. It's like most people don't even understand the idea of making a specific dedicated attack with a withdrawal plan.
Right.
But the ammo limitation really helps with the pacing.
Right. You don't.
And
want
because
anybody
you
out
have
there
to-
just fucking
And
spraying
because you
praying.
have to secure your supply. So in addition to the BBs, the revive system at Milsim West is pretty simple. The first time you get hit, everybody gets a Milsim West tourniquet.
Mhm.
It's like a mock tourniquet essentially.
Yep.
It's pretty much become the standard hit marker, I think, in a lot of places.
Yeah.
It's a product that we designed and EVIC manufactures and retails. And anyone can slap it on you. You're back in.
Right.
You get hit again, unless, as per our rule set, you're wearing weighted armor and helmet. You can use a tourniquet twice, but either way, you get hit again after you've applied all tourniquets. You need someone to take you to a medic, and you need to drink a 16-ounce water bottle.
Right. Yeah,
So
I saw that. I
your
thought that was
regens,
cool too.
your regens weigh 1 pound,
Right.
and you need to kind of be able to defend your supplies. Because the worst thing that happens. So it's like Milsim West doesn't have a point system. We don't have winners. We don't have losers.
Right.
You just get your mission and you go do it.
Which
right?
is also pretty cool in my opinion. I don't like it when there's a determined outcome. It kind of pisses me
Right.
off.
We've done that twice.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say there isn't necessarily a determined outcome in the sense that like the MSW cadre are all trying to make sure that everybody gets to experience certain types of operations that an infantry
Right.
unit would do. Um,
But it's not a
but
predetermined.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we've
but
purposely
there's no
lost.
points, so
Right.
it's like irrelevant whether you get I feel like I mean like there are cheaters in all airsoft
Yep.
games,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Um, but I think it helps reduce that because it's not a competitive event necessarily.
Right.
But the competitive aspect of it tends to be groups that are trying to capture large quantities of water bottles and BBs and take pictures next to people in their sleeping bags looking defeated.
Right.
Because that's right. You can't do that at a regular airsoft event,
No, you couldn't.
and that's like better than having someone. Even if you get your ass completely wrecked the next day, like your whole force gets surrounded and destroyed, right? When all those guys wake up, you still have that picture that you can be like, yeah, but you remember this?
Yeah.
So it kind of gives everybody an opportunity to
It
feel like they
does.
won.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there do tend to be groups that come more interested in fighting at night and groups that don't care about that as much.
Right.
I mean, my personal take is like, if I'm in my sleeping bag and my platoon is being overrun, not like somebody comes and starts waking people up getting ready to fight. Like, I am awoken to the sound of people walking over our perimeter security.
Right.
Like, I just stay in the fucking sleeping bag. I stick my
Screw
hands
it,
out.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just like, hey, we're all dead. I'm the cadre. Right? Do your
Fuck
search.
it.
Okay. We'll make sure to go back to our insert point in the morning.
Right.
You got us.
Because I'm gonna sleep.
Right? Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like a lot of times if I'm with a platoon that got like that, it's just like, okay, we are remaining on the field, but like we're not taking any offensive action
Right.
for the next 4 hours, and we're not really going to defend either. We're just going to
Right.
We're here.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're just gonna wait
fucking
there.
Sleep there.
yeah. I mean, it's like, but we're still in the game. It's like people still have the right to come over there and be like, hey, you, wake up.
Right.
What is out here? And it's like, it's nobody. We're all dead. Leave us alone. So it's embarrassing and it sucks.
You're right.
So
And I've had it happen to me more than once.
what's your favorite? What's your favorite event to either play or host or?
Currently my favorite is the MSW Mexico events. I've been learning Spanish over the last 3 years
Yeah.
Wow.
as we've been doing those. And, I just really, it's, this is so normal to me now that like a lot of times when I'm cadre, it just kind of feels like working a shift at a job.
Right.
But when I get to do it in a different language, there's like this additional challenge factor, and that makes me more engaged because I have
Right.
to try a lot harder to do my job.
Kind of revives your interest and makes it a little bit more. It makes it different.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's all it is. It's just like learning a different scene.
Right.
I mean, that's probably that. And there's a game we do, Road to Kharkiv. I like that game. It rains. I like cadreing for that game. So it's probably that in the Mexico game. Like I just, I like talking shit in Spanish. I like having I like having opportunities to improve. Each game makes me prepare. I basically spend the year practicing and preparing. I've been at it for basically 2 or 3 years now. The first event, I had to have a translator, basically explain everything for people.
Mm-hmm.
The last one I just did, I just did the whole brief in Spanish, and I was like, all right, cool.
That's
Let's see if I
that's
can
cool.
take it even further. Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, and so just like going to another country and people being like, we already love your brand, like we don't, you know what I mean? We don't even necessarily speak the same language, but this is like our ideal airsoft. This is what we're looking for. Just that whole experience is really interesting. So,
No, that's cool.
yeah, man. Well, so I've sort of ranted a little while on when did you know MSW was it?
no.
No,
What
no,
other?
hey,
You had some more structured questions, right?
I mean, I don't got too many more, but we do have the Q&A with the task force, which is like we asked the people on Instagram, like, hey, give us a question. We'll answer it if you want to do it
for
with
sure.
us.
Yeah,
So-
let's do it.
At Norfolk Airsoft Team on Instagram asked, what do you think about the difference between current SRS A1 and the new SRS A2 platform, which is the sniper rifle that's out there? Which
I wouldn't
I don't
fucking
do
know.
too much of the sniper
have
rifle.
no idea.
And then I looked at it and it was a bullpup, and I was even more like, I wouldn't fuck with that. So,
Sorry.
I mean, that's my stance on that question. If you know anything about it, Josh, feel free. But
I mean, I just like sniper guns and airsoft in general is
Right.
not my jam. So
Right.
I mean, I think a stock AEG rifle is probably your best way to go.
yep, I was gonna say the closest I'd get to a sniper is like a DMR.
I was gonna say,
Sure.
if you built an M21, it'd probably outdistance that little barrel.
Right. But
I mean, I have an E&L AK 105 that my buddy Spencer Wessels from Evic customized, and I love playing with that gun because it shoots about 3 times as far as everybody else. And
Is
it's
it
an
for
AG.
sale?
It is actually in Mexico right now. Long
I
story.
will pay shipping. Says it for sale.
Nasty is a huge AK guy.
I love
AKs
Yeah, I would say.
and
I
squad
mean, honestly,
weapons.
yeah. I mean, everything's for sale in the Josh Warren airsoft closet right now. That's, I mean,
We'll
I
have
have
to
so much
talk.
airsoft shit that like I don't even need. I mean, a lot of our sponsors are incredibly generous, and
Sure,
and they'll give
sure.
us all this stuff, and it's like once the staff have the shit they want, which is usually provided to them by Evic anyway.
Right.
I mean, it's like I have tons of fucking airsoft guns that I'm just like, I'm never gonna use all these.
We will talk
Yeah.
very soon. I'm just
So
Well, I gotta go open up my storage locker and take pictures of all of them. But I got a bunch.
there you go.
oh my
A
god.
lot of new in-box G&G guns.
So, next question we had was from at Airsoft Mean. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. She said,
Oh, I know Hesmeen. She's a good friend.
Yeah. She said, "Is it okay to call someone else's hits if you say I'm a fairy princess first?" So, I mean, if you, I would
If you
definitely,
come running over to me yakking that shit, I'm just walking back. Okay.
with no doubt, I would willingly scream, "I'm a fairy princess," and then be like, "Call your hit."
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you're wearing a tutu, I'm calling every hit you call. I don't
Yeah,
care
I
if
mean-
it was a ricochet. I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good technique if you're going to try and call other people's hits.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Next question was from at Airsoft Speedy. He said, "Do you consider using non-bio BBs outside as littering?" So non-biodegradable BBs outside is
I've
that?
done it for 10 years, so no.
I did it for a long time, and now, I mean, like, it's pretty much, I feel like the norm is bio BBs. Pretty much everybody requires
guess.
bio BBs, so
Boy,
But bio BB, so it's like for me, bio BBs aren't really necessarily all that bio anyway.
right.
So,
It's going to take
I
a
mean,
couple dozen years to
it's-
break down anyhow.
yeah, it's like it's not the greatest thing ever, but it's certainly not the worst thing ever. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with no. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think there's significant environmental impact
No.
from
It's a selling
airsoft.
point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well,
Good
I
when it
just
charge
don't-
a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, I just don't think like ultimately it's like the Federal Trade Commission standards for biodegradability. I don't know.
Degradable?
What is
Biodegradation.
no? But like, what's the word for the adjective of biodegradable?
Oh, shit, I don't know. That's way,
Biodegradation.
that's way above my head.
No, it's like it would be like ability, right? Biodegradability.
I didn't make it that far in high
Degradability?
school, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Either way,
Yes.
the standard is like it's pretty much like will it break down in a landfill in the sunlight?
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
I work for the city, so I understand that. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so it's like, so it's like, honestly, most it's like biodegradable product is just like that's the standard.
Right.
Right.
How
So
long
it's like-
will it take to break down in your local landfill? Oh, 30 years? Okay, we're going to prove it.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, right. Recently, there was like there was this smaller BB company that came out and like started taking shots at like big BB producers, being like, "Oh, your shit doesn't really biodegrade. Our shit's the most secret, special biodegradable formula." And it's like when you realize that it's basically like a bullshit certification from our federal government, one of our various commissions that doesn't even really have the force of law. because that's just like a guideline. It is a guideline for if you are going to advertise as biodegradable.
Right.
So legally speaking, I think I actually could be like Josh Warren's biodegradable car batteries. And like the Federal Trade Commission could be like, don't do that, but like they couldn't really do shit.
Right. Like,
Right.
stop me.
Yeah.
Try me.
So
I mean, until somebody gets hurt or damaged from
Tesla.
the burying of my biodegradable car batteries, which is maybe a different story. But I guess I would say I don't think it matters that much.
No.
yeah,
You know.
I would agree.
I mean, especially because they're broken down so small. It's like they pretty much integrate into the soil and become like
Yeah.
any other particle.
Exactly.
right. So the next question we got was from @OBS Rogue. He said, "What's your favorite aspect of airsoft besides the shooting or shooting others itself?" To me,
Playing
it's like
dress up with a buddy in his basement.
Yeah, I was gonna say playing
pretty
dress
fun.
up or even just fucking like just the people you meet. I
Yeah.
think airsoft is kind of a tight community where you get to meet a lot of people and
Or
generally make
douchebags.
some lasting relationships, even with the douchebags.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you guys let me tag along for 10 years.
So,
I
Well,
think my favorite part of airsoft is probably like tactics and organization.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, if I was in your
That's kinda-
position, I could understand. But me, I've never
Yeah.
had to play at a level like that. I'm just the dude that runs through the door or dies first. So that's kind of just my role. So yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
Team
that'd be
Meat
cool.
Shield.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's exactly what we do. We just say, "Hey, carry all this shit,"
And I'm like, okay,
"You'll be the first one to get killed." So.
works for me.
Other question we got was from @Tristan Art and Airsoft, who's been on the show with us
Yep.
before. Said, if a car is going 70 miles an hour, how many miles will it go in an hour?
70 miles.
Are you sure?
No, I have no fucking idea. I don't care. And I knew this was gonna happen.
The,
So-
the minute you saw it on Instagram,
I
you're
did.
like,
I was like, this is gonna
I
happen. It's
Purposely said, we'll give it to Nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to
Are we
see what
live on
happens.
Instagram right now?
No,
Oh, no,
no. We're
This
not
was a
live on
post
Instagram.
that
This is
was-
just questions we ask.
Shit talking me.
Instagram and they give us, and I got this question and I thought it would be hilarious to have Nasty try to answer it because I knew he would just be like, I don't really know, I don't want to answer.
I don't care.
So, but no, that's
Wait, so the answer is 70 miles an hour, right?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
mean,
it is, but because they're gonna give me so much shit for it, I'm not even gonna answer. So
70 miles an hour is
70 miles a fucking hour, unless you're in wind and your odometer's off. So
That dude kind of sounds like he doesn't fuck, just because, like, who makes story problem math jokes?
thank
that
you.
has-
That I stopped that. Why do you, dude? I'm not even gonna get into this right now. I'm not even playing. So
Does that dude have sex? He doesn't have sex.
I don't know.
it's a pretty wicked left.
He shall father no children. He shall inherit no titles. Yeah. That kid's on the wall watching the fucking NVIDIA video card or whatever.
Oh, rip.
But-
Wait, I got a question for you guys.
What's up?
Oh.
What's up?
What video game are you playing right now during stay at home?
In all honesty, my time has been mixed up between Modern Warfare
Ew.
and then also actually Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Okay.
What about you, Brian?
Division 2, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and Modern Warfare.
All the battlefields.
That's it.
Well, I was just gonna say all the. Yep. I will bounce
Don't
between
let this
battlefields.
motherfucker lie to you. He's been playing Rocket League too.
I do heavily play Rocket League, but Battlefield's probably where it's at.
Yes. Those are our video
Nice.
games. What about you?
Well, Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord came out on like March 31st, like 2 days early because of coronavirus. And considering I had been playing Mount and Blade 1 from like 2010, since 2010,
Right.
I've been pretty occupied. I got a lot on my plate right now.
This man.
I did see you do a lot of tabletop game playing as well. I see that a lot in your stories that you share.
Yeah, I play this custom tabletop game that I made with my niece and nephew, and my girlfriend plays sometimes, and my dad will play sometimes. It's called Warband 1019. We started playing it last year with my brother's kids. it's just a historical RPG with no magic that uses a D6 system.
That's badass.
It's kind of cool.
Actually, yeah.
So it's
D6
like
system's nice.
whatever kind of source material they can come up with in terms of like, we want to take the journey from, southern France, like Western Europe knights. Well, it's not even. It's like the Norman Age, the end of the Viking Age, right? There's not really plate armor yet. It's people in chainmail,
Right.
with like vaguely Scandinavian-looking round shields. And now they're on a quest to go to I don't even remember the name of the city right now because we haven't gotten there. We're like in Spain, and I have to get a bunch of like Moorish, Abbasid, like Caliphate riders for their next episode. But they're traveling the world 1,000 years ago in search of Auntie Shin's fried chicken bucket restaurant, which apparently existed.
God,
Yeah, it was
that
like-
reminds me
Sounds sick.
of Twilight 2000, which dates me.
Twilight 2000,
Yeah.
not the teen vampire drama.
No, the old RPG.
I don't
D6
even know.
system,
I can't
D20.
remember. I want to say it was a D20 just because almost everything in the 80s was. My first shot.
Except for the West End game Star Wars.
That's
games.
true. Star Wars and Shadowrun were
Yes.
my first D6.
But they're both West End games. Yeah. My
See,
my brother and I used to obsessively play
it's us older guys.
Star Wars, the West End Star Wars D6 game, and so that's why I just like I found these old notebooks once of like source books that I'd like made for campaigns with him and our friends, and I was like trying to think of shit to do with my niece and nephew, and I was just like, well, fuck, D6 is easy, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So.
That's awesome, dude.
That's cool.
God, I haven't done tabletop in years.
So no,
It's
but
fun. I mean,
go ahead.
oh no, you're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, where can everybody find you? Is it milsimwest.com, obviously?
Yeah,
And then-
absolutely. So if you're looking for hardcore Milsim events, you can go to www.milsimwest.com, read the tax op before you go. If you are looking for your more casual 3-day airsoft event that many would call a Milsim event, but I wouldn't necessarily, check out desertfoxairsoftevents.com. That's desertfoxevents.com. It's your standard 2.5-day airsoft game, but instead of a bunch of tired admins with, poopy flags, we've got a custom digital app that scores the whole game in domination mode, similar to Battlefield or Call of Duty.
Fuck
Nice.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Wow.
I saw that. I thought that was pretty
I'm
cool.
gonna have to start rubbing feet for money so I can go to this next game, dude.
But definitely check out Milsim West. We're definitely planning on attending
fuck
whenever
yes.
games open
We
back
can,
up.
yeah.
So whenever that is, hopefully we'll be out there sooner rather than later. But
Same, hoping for it.
we'll see. Other than that, we just want to take a little bit of time, let you guys know about 6mm plastic. They got some great BBs out there. Fairly new to the market, great price on them. So if you get a chance, check those guys out. 6mmplastic.com. Another company is Dynamic Fuzz. Those guys offer upgrades for Comtech Pros and MSA Swordens, as well as Velcro you can put on the outside, so that way you can put some patches on there or get a camouflage cover for them as well. That way they can blend in with the rest of your outfit. Josh, we want to say thank you for
Thank you
being on the show
very much.
with us for sure.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no problem. And
Awesome.
so
I'm gonna buy a bunch of his guns. I'm just saying. I'm not even fucking playing. I've got mommy's credit card, and we're ready to go.
I just want to find somebody with old Western arms. I'm gonna get my 1911 SWAT back.
I believe you.
so
All right, sir.
thank you guys for tuning in.
All right, take it easy,
We will
guys.
see
Thanks.
you next week.
All right.
All right,
Later, guys.
Peace.